the S consonant, made with air going through your front teeth. S. Any voicing going on with the sound? S. No, the S sound is unvoiced. S. Now what would be if you didn't change a thing, you just added voicing? What would the S sound become? S. Z. It would become a Z sound. Z. So S has no voicing. S. Z has voicing. Z. So we say the S sound and the Z sound are also paired consonants. And this brings us to what I'd like to cover today. S sounds, S, Z sounds, Z, and how they work in terms of word endings. I find that most people who learn English as a second language do not use the proper voicing on S and Z endings. And what happens is it can cause your speech to sound unclear and sometimes may cause you to be misunderstood. I'm going to show you 3 easy rules that will help you pronounce many of these words correctly. This first rule is easy, and this one I know you probably do already. Rule number 1. If the last sound in a word is unvoiced and you're adding an S, well then the S remains unvoiced too. Let me explain that. Take the word cup. Cup. It ends with an unvoiced P. P, p, cup. P, p. Well then if you add an S to the word cup to make it plural, the S you add also remains unvoiced. So, for example, you have 1 cup or 2 cups. There's no voicing at the end of that word. The S remains unvoiced. 1 cup, 2 cups. That's easy. You already do this. I'll show you another word. Cat. Cat ends with an unvoiced T. T, t. 1 cat, 2 cats. Again, the S ending is unvoiced. Cats. Now this also goes for verbs, like in the verb break. I break. Break ends with an unvoiced K sound. K, k. There's no voicing on that K. So when you put the word in the third person, he breaks, the S you add also remains unvoiced. He breaks. I stop ends with an unvoiced P. P, p. I stop. He stops. Unvoiced S. Stops. Now, as I said, you already follow this rule, and there really isn't anything new to know. But on rule number 2, now this one you probably do not do, so pay close attention to this rule. When adding an S to a word to make it plural, if a word ends with any of these sounds, S, Z, Sh, Ch, or J, as in judge, and don't worry, you really don't need to memorize this. It will become automatic. When you add an S ending, this time we always add the ending is with a voiced Z. Is. It doesn't matter that it's spelled with an S. It's never is, unvoiced, never. It's always is with a voiced Z. Okay, do this with me. Put your hand on your throat because I want you to feel the vibration in your neck and say is. Feel that right here, is. Okay, so let's look at the word page, for example, which ends in a voiced sound. 1 page becomes 2 pages with that voiced Z. 2 pages. It's not 2 pages, unvoiced, no. It's 2 pages with a voiced Z. Even though you spell the word like this, in American English you pronounce the word like this. Pages. You're probably saying, I never knew that. See what you're learning from me? Okay, let's look at another word. In the word bus, for example, bus ends with an S sound. Bus. So if you make it plural, you're going to add the ending is with a voiced Z. So we've got 1 bus or 2 buses. Buses. 2 buses. The last sound you hear is that voiced Z. buses. Next one, lunch. Lunch ends with a CH sound, ch. So we've got one, lunch, or two, lunch is. Lunch is. Very good. Let's do some verbs. Raise, meaning like to raise my hand. Now this word is a bit unusual because even though it is spelled with an S, it's pronounced with a voiced Z. Raise. So we say I raise with a voiced Z ending, and he raises. Raises. He raises his hand. It's voiced. Next one, brush, like to brush my teeth. I brush. He brushes. Brushes. It's a voiced ending. Push. I push. He pushes. He pushes. Very good. By voicing these endings, your speech will become clearer, sharper, and cleaner. Most likely you haven't noticed that American English is spoken this way, but now that I've pointed it out, listen for it when you hear people speak. To an American listener, this makes a very big difference. Okay, here comes the third rule. This one's easy. If a word ends with a vowel sound, all you do is add a voiced Z. It's simple. Let's look at the word tree. The last sound you hear in that word is the vowel E. And remember, a vowel is always voiced. So the word ends in a voiced sound. Tree. So what you want to do if you're going to add an S to a word like this to make it plural is you continue the voicing throughout the whole word and add on a voiced Z. So here we go. You've got one tree or two trees. It's not trees with an unvoiced S. It's trees with that voiced ending. You see that? Another example, the word day. It ends with the vowel sound A. So you have one day or two days. It's not days, unvoiced. It's days with a voiced Z ending. Next one, shoe. One shoe, two shoes. Next is the verb fly, which ends in the vowel sound I. So you've got I fly, he flies. Keep that ending voiced. Flies. The last sound you hear in the word game is the M sound, which is a voiced consonant. So because of that, when you add an S, the S should also be voiced. One game, two games. Games. Now the word head ends with a voiced D, d, d. So we've got one head or two heads. Heads. It's voiced. Two heads. Very good. Next word, train, ends with a voiced N. See that? So you've got one train or two trains. Two trains with a voiced Z ending. Song ends with a voiced NG sound. So if you make it plural, don't forget to add a voiced Z ending. You've got one song or two songs. Two songs. The word is, it's not is on voice, it's pronounced as if it were a Z. Is. This is good. You hear that? Is. His, same thing. It also has a voiced Z ending. His mom is Mary. As, you pronounce it with a voiced Z. As the phone rang. Was, which is a very common word. It was raining. These, voiced ending. These are my children. Those are my books. Easy. Again, the S is like a voiced Z. Easy. This is easy. Because, which is another common word. Because We were late. Okay, now let's do some practice with reading passages. Each of these has many voiced and unvoiced S and Z sounds. All of the voiced Z sounds you will see are underlined. If you've printed out the training manual using a color printer, you'll notice that the voiced Z sounds are all printed in red. This will help you visually see which sounds should be voiced. I'm going to go slow and exaggerate the sounds. You may just want to listen to me first, then stop the video, practice on your own, and then later on watch this video again and practice it with me. Whatever feels right to you. Now this first one has many voiced Z sounds. Here we go. Another zippy, zappy, crazy day comes to a close as we zoom up to Joe's snooze zone. Zoe Jones of Zodiac Zoo plays with her zipper. Very good. Next one. Last week, Jim's brothers were picked to represent their country in the Olympic Games. Two of the brothers were swimmers, while the other two were long-distance runners. All of the brothers wore glasses. These athletes worked hard at qualifying for the games and were hoping to come home with prizes. Since the brothers go to the same university, they often take the same courses. This makes studying easier and gives them more time to do other things. Okay, here's the last one. On Thursday, I had a very lazy day. I woke up early and first squeezed oranges into juice. I then got dressed and watched the sunrise come up over the mountains. It was so beautiful that I took many pictures with my camera and I used 3 rolls of film. After drinking 2 cups of coffee, I got dressed, left the house, and walked 3 miles home. Very good. Now another good way to practice these voiced S and Z endings is to do a naming activity. What you do is you just sit in your room and out loud name everything you see, first in the singular form and then in the plural form. For example, you look around and you say out loud, 1 door, 2 doors, with a voiced Z ending. 1 table, 2 tables. 1 computer, 2 computers. 1 light, 2 lights. Some of my clients found this to be very helpful. In addition, try listening for these voiced sounds when you hear native-born Americans speak. It's very good ear training, and that'll help you improve. Soon, slowly begin to put these sounds into your own speech. You'll find that by adding these voiced endings, your English will sound cleaner and people will have an easier time understanding you. Believe me, it's going to really make an improvement. Before we finish, I have one more suggestion that comes from clients who have taken this program. I think it's a really good idea. If you can, find a very small mirror and attach it maybe with some tape right onto the side of your computer monitor, right next to the screen. By having a mirror right in front of you during our sessions, you can easily read the text on the screen, watch my mouth, and then look right into the mirror at your own mouth. You'll be able to compare your mouth with what I'm doing, and you'll know whether or not you are forming your lips and tongue into the correct positions. Through imitation and following my instructions, you're becoming closer to speaking with an American accent. Well, that's it for today. Relax, have fun, and